Greetings, actives, and welcome to the July Founders Call. David and I are excited to see all of you, all of your smiling faces. This has been a great month, a very hot month in some places here in the United States. It's the middle of the summer. 2023 is officially half over, and you could say we're halfway getting started. We've got the best half ahead of us. Really historic things happening. David and I were just talking before we started this Zoom at how it's feeling a little bit like deja vu every month for the last few months, because we continue to have historic months, best month ever in our history, incredible growth month over month, year over year. I think, David, we're up more than double what we were the same time last year, and just some great things to talk about. So we'll go ahead and get this kicked off. If you're new to ACTIVZ, welcome. We do this each and every month on the 15th of the month, and just like always, we're doing it this month. We'll be here in August 15th of the month, and for every 15th for the rest of your lives and our lives too. I'm kidding. I don't know how long we're going to do this, but we'll do it for as long as we can. How about that? And for those of you who aren't new to ACTIVZ, it's great to have you on, and we wouldn't be here without you. Especially a shout out to all of the pioneers and all the leaders that are joining us today. So it's great to have all of you. David, let's get into this. We like to talk about highlights from the previous month and share glimpses of what's coming up around the corner. So I'll go ahead and have you get started here. Welcome, and talk to us about some highlights.
Thanks, Ryan. It's great to be here. I think you actually summarized it when you first opened up. In the words of the song, everything is hot, hot, hot. I mean, right. It's going crazy at ACTIVZ, no matter where we're at. We've got really an amazing growth rate. Literally thousands of people are joining us, new people. I mean, I think just last month alone, over 5,000 new people joined ACTIVZ, and that's amazing when you think about an additional 5,000 people in the town where I grew up. Well, on a ranch outside of the town of 150 people, if you counted all the cows, or at least some of the cows. There are actually more cows than people probably. But there are probably, I mean, more people joined ACTIVZ than lived in maybe the whole county I grew up. Wow. It's kind of weird. And cool. And that means that there's now hundreds of thousands of people overall, not just 1 month, who know about ACTIVZ, or are part of the ACTIVZ family, are getting the benefits of cutting edge science, many of whom are turning it into additional income for their families, and their lives have been tremendously changed because somebody overcame a little bit of concern, a little bit of shyness, a little bit of wondering, how are they going to think if I do this, and nevertheless shared ACTIVZ with them. And that's pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, and it's a cool analogy when you compare how many new people signed up with the county you grew up in. That's really exciting. We are certainly, we're growing. I want to say, well, we're late. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Happy Independence Day this month. I like celebrating Independence Day here at ACTIVZ and just generally in the network marketing industry, because something we get to talk about, not just in July, David, but all the time at ACTIVZ is independence and celebrating people's personal financial independence and freedom, not just national independence or national freedom. And obviously, the Independence Day, we celebrate the independence of our country, and we do that certainly in every country. Mexico Independence Day is a big celebration, but I think it's particularly apropos for us to celebrate it, because we have a lot of new stories of new people who are becoming independent, financially independent, by really digging in, taking their business seriously, sharing with everybody they come in contact with. And last month, I'll just say that, probably one of the biggest highlights for me in June, we had an incredible event down in Mexico in the beginning of, middle of June. We announced a big incentive trip, right? Going to Panama next March, last week of March. I want everybody to qualify for that. We rolled out 2 new products, part of the Amora family, right? So the moisturizer and the cleanser. But those weren't the highlights. The highlights for me, David, were when I talk about independence and freedom, I think about, okay, We had a new A15, a new A14, 2 new A13s. We had 5 new A12s. We had a couple, I think 2 new A11s, and then we had A10s. We had 6 A10s. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 A10s, a bunch of A9s, and we had 20 A8s. 20 people reached the, actually, I think it's 19 to be exact. So almost 20, rounding up. 19 people hit the rank of A8, and of course, tons of other rank advancements in south of A8. But I was thinking about that, David, early on in our company when we were talking about putting together the ACTIVZ Academy, which is an A8 academy we do in Mexico. We didn't have enough to even do an academy. And now in 1 month, we've never come close to having about 20 people hit the rank of A8. So when we talk about historic growth, that certainly is emblematic of this historic of our growth, all these ranks. But also when we talk about freedom, financial independence, all the people, all those ranks I just listed off, for those of you watching, these are people who on average an A8 is earning anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 a month residual. That's the average. It's close to about $2,000 a month is what an A8 earns. An A10, all those A10s earn an average of about 50,000 a month. They earn about $5,000 a month. That's the average. The A12s, that's an average of over $10,000 a month. The 13s, the 14s, the new A15, well, they're way north of 10 grand a month on average. So I look at that, and these aren't people that are exchanging time for dollars. These are people who are following a system and creating residual income for themselves. So they're getting paid on, passively on just the consumption of these life-changing epigenetic products that we're marketing. So it's exciting. And personally, I'm just, that was the highlight for me. It was seeing all of those rank advancements this last month, and then going right into July, and on the 4th of July, celebrating Independence Day. So, I've had a couple of incredible weeks, really, celebrating freedom in more than one way. So I'll say that was a highlight for me. Is there anything that stands out to you as really a highlight for last month?
Well, I like what you said, and really thinking about independence and really freedom to choose what you want to be independent from. You want to be independent of somebody telling you what to do all the time. You want to be independent of health issues and problems, and choose what you want to be dependent on. You want to be dependent upon your own skills, your own effort, your own things. And as we talk about these people who have rank advanced and succeeded and have life-changing income, if you look at them, you might say, man, what do they have in common? Because we have people with backgrounds, that were, school teachers, that were truck drivers, that were doctors, that were, small entrepreneurs, that were just regular workers in factories, people that worked at companies, some people who really were struggling to find any job and on a consistent basis, and really looked at this as their only real opportunity for anything. So really a wide and varied background for all of these individuals. And yet the one thing that they had in common, I think, is that they ultimately said, I want a pathway to independence, just continuing your theme, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, because I don't see a lot of other pathways out there to the independence I'm seeking. And yes, it'll be hard, but it's also hard making my paycheck stretch every 2 weeks. Yeah. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to do some things that I don't want to do, but I go to work every day and do things I don't want to do. And so it's really not anything else any more difficult than the things that they're already doing. And they're just following the success guide, having consistent effort every day, and then are kind of amazed, like all of us are, when that success builds upon itself. And they get that first, oh, wow, I can do this moment, where somebody says yes. And then that happens again, and that happens again. And more importantly, they then communicate that to somebody else who becomes part of their team. And they teach them, say, hey, I did this. And if I can do this, you can absolutely do this. And those are the things that I just, I've been a lawyer in my background. I've been running retail companies. I've gone to big retailers like Walmart and Target. And you just don't get the satisfaction, Ryan. It's just not the same as seeing the changes that happen in people's lives because they chose and they had the freedom to choose.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm glad that you enjoy this more than practicing law. You certainly are much better at this than when you were a lawyer. I'm just kidding.
I practice and
I don't know
practice
how
and
you were when you
practice.
were a lawyer. Yeah.
I practice and practice and never got it right. That's why I finally had
That's right. There's a lot of practicing that takes place in that profession, isn't there? That's funny. All right. Well, moving forward, let's talk about, June was actually phenomenal. It was really off the charts. But here we are in the middle of July. I do want to remind everybody that we are halfway through 2023. And what that means is, well, as a company, we're on a much higher trajectory than we were before. Every month that we end 18, 20, 24%, whatever the case may be, above the previous month, we look at that and we're like, boy, if we just keep up the same, call it average 20% monthly growth, we're doubling the size of the company in 5 months, actually in less than 5 months because it's compounded. And so we're on a trajectory to really have a huge number this year of 2023. But what I want to talk about really with everybody is look at your business, right? And start reverse engineering. Where do you think, where are you on track to reach at the end of 2023 if you just maintain the volume that you finished June with, right? What trajectory would that put you on if you were to annualize that? Grow by 10% and do the calculation again. Grow by 15 or 20%, do the same calculation. And you can see how your goals, even the lofty goals, really start getting in reach. You can reach them much easier and they become much more realistic. So that's what we do as a company. I have a lot of fun with it. I say, boy, if we just do in the next quarter what we did last quarter, we're now gonna be a $60 million company, a $100 million company. I mean, we start playing with these numbers and, David, I'll tell you what's very exciting is to be able to back into a $100 million a year company just by maintaining our current rate of growth. And I would dare say that we're going to be on track for that probably end of Q1 of this next year. Now, that is all exciting. You and I have done that before. We've been at larger, very successful companies in this space. But I like talking about what that means for our distributors, because our distributors, when you look at, okay, ACTIVZ is capturing more and more market share in this ever-expanding wellness category, the epigenetic category, really leading the way in epigenetics as far as marketing that and taking that to the world. But for each one of you watching this, you have to ask yourself a question. If you're building your own business, what piece of the pie do you want? What amount of that market share is going to be yours? Because we know that this is a 200 billion wellness, specifically nutritional supplements. I'm going to throw out a very vague number here, but it's about a $200 billion a year industry, and it's growing at a rapid rate. Last I checked, it was like 8% a year in terms of its increase. So it's growing, which is pretty significant when you're that size of an industry. What piece of that do you want? What piece of that do you want? Because as ACTIVZ grows, you can grow. As we grow, your growth will be facilitated. So make sure you don't let this year end before you really take it seriously. Do what we're doing and start playing with the numbers. And every month, set a goal for yourself on what you want your business to grow to. What percent growth over the previous month do you think you can grow? And then reverse engineer from there. Break it down into 4 weeks. What do you do each week? What do you do this week? Then when you break it into days, what do you do this day? What's your daily plan of action? Control the actions. Don't worry about things that are out of your control. How many calls are you going to make? How many messages are you going to send? How many videos? How many testimonies are you going to share? That's how you got to reverse engineer it to the day and really focus on the 24 hours that you're in. Always be present in these 24 hours, taking massive action on on actionable items, things that you can control, like how many calls can you make? How many people can you follow up with? How many presentations can you do before you fall asleep at night? That's what I did years ago as a distributor. And I can just tell you that working like that won't fail you, right? That is the best way to end the year 2023 where you want to end up. That's what the people who are hitting the big ranks are. Last month, our new A15, well, we've got now a couple A15s, we got a couple A16s. Our newest A15 last month was Noemi Garcia. Danny Pizarro hit A15 a couple of months ago. And I can tell you that it's not rocket science. It's doing exactly what I said. It's taking all-out massive action today within the 24-hour span that we find ourselves in. So I would encourage you all to do that. That's what we're doing. I think the last thing I wanted to share, and I feel like I'm rambling a bit, David, but I want to share something before we end our founders call. And it's something that I shared a little bit of on one of our weekly updates a couple weeks ago. And it's this cool article, very interesting article that was published by the direct selling industry, where it was comparing the performance of this industry, the industry that we're in, with the general stock market in the US, well, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And why this is intriguing for me is because I feel like we're always in a position where we have to justify being in the network marketing industry, or justify being a direct selling company, or justify being a distributor, right? People say all the time, why are you guys marketing if you have these incredible products? Why aren't you mass marketing them through some other channel, right? Through healthcare professionals, or in Walgreens, or GNC, or Walmart. And David, I know that you understand that as well, or better than anybody, because we know that doesn't move products, right? People move products. But I want to go back to this article. I want everyone to understand that the direct selling industry, our industry that we are proud members of, and so are you, had about an 18% increase from January through today, compared with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which grew I think 4.8% over the same period. So for all the naysayers out there and people who say these companies don't work, this industry is a quack industry, and there's any number of pejoratives that people use to describe us, they're wrong. They're patently wrong. Entrepreneurship is on the rise. More and more people are working for themselves. More and more people are starting their own business in their home. And more of those people are starting up network marketing businesses, something that has a low barrier of entry, where you can follow a system and you have a real fighting chance to become successful. I'd argue more successful than you would if you were starting some other traditional business. So that article just came out. I would encourage you guys to check it out. You can probably Google it, but it's a fun article for you to share with people that take issue with the direct selling industry. You could say, look, let me share with you and educate you a little bit on this direct selling industry. We are outperforming the Dow Jones Industrial Average this month of June, or this last month of June. And in fact, 4/8/12, it's like 4 times what Dow Jones did over a 6-month period. So I'm excited about that. I want to share with all of you, and you can use that put that in your quiver of things to share with people. David, I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to let you be the cleanup batter here. You be the cleanup batter.
And what's even more amazing about that statistic is people might say, well, the Dow Jones is getting battered and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, true, it has been. But guess what? The industry has not only outperformed the other Dow Jones participants or members, but that is with most companies in the space not growing consecutively year after year like we are. You and I are been invited again to participate in an industry event to talk about ACTIVZ and just things that are going on. And when I told the person who invited us that we've been growing tremendously, 3-4 years in a row, 5 years, actually we've grown every year. We've never had a reverse year. He said, man, a lot of people who are going to be in attendance at this aren't going to be able to say that, and they're going to be really jealous of you. And so, you said, treat your business basically like a business. And I'll just close with this, that basically Not everybody is interested in building a business. Some people just want to be part of ACTIVZ, the ACTIVZ family, enjoy the benefits of the product. That's great. Awesome. We're glad to have you here under the tent. But for those people who really do want to have a business, there really are some basic business principles. Can you imagine if we decided to just ship out product whenever we wanted to and not really do it every day? Can you imagine that if we just decided to pay commissions whenever we wanted to and not really took it, or didn't return phone calls, we didn't do this? Well, we wouldn't have a very good business. And the same thing's true for each of you with your businesses. If you don't put concerted effort into it every day, chances are the return that you want is not going to occur. And you might say, well, what happened? The company was growing fairly well, and then 6 months ago, bam. Well, what happened was we did some different things. We recognize the Momentum Escape trip as one of those that's been met with tremendous reception. I can tell you that these people who have been rank advancing recently, the Danny Pizarros, the Noemi Garcias, and others, all of them at a certain point hit a plateau where they didn't grow as much. They held steady, or they grew a little bit, but not like they wanted to. And so they had to re-examine what they were doing and say, what am I not doing enough of? They revisited the success guide. They revisited and watched what they were doing and said, oh, okay, when I was growing fast, I was doing this, I was doing that. And maybe I got a little bit complacent. Maybe life happened and I wasn't able to do it. Whatever it is, that's true. And if people are not achieving the growth that they want to, really it's a matter of sitting down. Like you said, I love it. It's not rocket science. It's going through those basic principles, those basic steps, and being honest and saying, am I doing this? And if you're not, and you want to, go ahead and start. Now, if you don't want to, that's okay too. But if you want to, the path is proven. The wonderful thing about this growth is that you can point to lots of people who are getting benefits from the products and lots of people who are making money. So if anybody says the products are quackery, you can deal with that. If anybody says nobody makes any money, you can deal with that. And at the end of the day, we're going to be here backing you up all the way anyway. So that's what I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a great rest of the summer. Caliente, it's going to be awesome. And so on that note, Mr. Thompson, I'll ship it back to you.
All right, awesome. Thanks, David. Well, guys, thank you for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you 1 month from today, August 15th. Make sure that you take full advantage of the rest of this month. We've got some great promotions running, some great things to just put some more money in your pocket and help you reach your goals. Don't forget that this month of July, we have a couple things ending. We have the Momentum Escape qualification, the 3-month ending this month. So we've got 505 of you who could potentially qualify this for our 3rd Momentum Escape. I hope to see all of you in Cancun or at our next US destination. And also this month of July, 500 Club is ending. So it's not too late to earn an extra 500 bucks. And all that said, we'll see you very soon. Thanks, David. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you same time, same place next month. Have a wonderful day, everybody. See you at the top.
Thanks, everybody.